Hello everyone, I'm Swati and welcome to another podcast of the iScale. And today we are going to unfold the success story of Smita Acharya, who is currently working as a senior data analyst in the company Decathlon. कई सारे लर्नर्स के ये क्वेश्चंस आते हैं कि इंटरव्यू के अंदर किस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जा रहे हैं आजकल। तो स्मिता ने अपनी इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई कंप्लीट की और उसके बाद उन्होंने डेटा एनालिस्ट के तौर पे अपने करियर की शुरुआत की। स्मिता ने कई इंटरव्यूज दिए भी हैं और कई इंटरव्यूज लिए भी हैं। तो कई बार ऐसा होता है डेटा एनालिस्ट के इंटरव्यू में कि आप बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम को कितना बेहतर अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं, इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जाते हैं। तो आज का ये पॉडकास्ट आप लोगों को जरूर इसलिए देखना चाहिए कि डेटा एनालिस्ट के इंटरव्यूज के अंदर बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम को लेके किस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं। जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जब स्मिता को एक इंटरव्यू अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली तब उनके पास भी एक ऐसी सिचुएशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन आई कि जहां उन्हें बिजनेस केस स्टडी दी गई और कहा गया कि आपके पास कुछ डेटा अवेलेबल है, उस डेटा से आपको इनसाइट्स निकालना है और सीईओ को आपको रिपोर्ट करना है कि कैसे 2 साल के अंदर जो सेल्स का है डेटा, उससे आप सेल्स को बूस्ट कर सकते हैं, कितने % आप बूस्ट कर सकते हैं। ये सारे इनसाइट्स आपको डेटा से निकालने हैं। तो इसके लिए आपको डेटा की अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना, टूल्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना तो जरूरी है। इसके साथ ही आप बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम को कितना बेहतर तरीके से अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो आज के इस पॉडकास्ट में यही सारा कुछ कॉन्वर्सेशन है स्मिता के साथ। तो बिना टाइम वेस्ट किए हम शुरुआत करते हैं इस पॉडकास्ट की स्मिता के साथ। Hello everyone, I'm Swati and welcome to another podcast of the iScale, and today we are having with us our very special guest Smita Acharya. Right now she is currently working as a data analyst in a very amazing company Decathlon. So Smita, a very warm welcome to you on the platform of the iScale.
Thank you. Thanks, Swati.
So basically everyone who is going to watch this conversation, Smita's journey is full of ups and downs, we can say, and Smita's journey, like right from completing the graduation in electronics and communication, she really worked hard, and right now she's working as a data analyst in the company Decathlon. So Smita's journey is basically inspiring as well as in this conversation you are going to learn more about how she started preparing for the data analyst and how she grabbed an amazing job. So Smita, firstly I would like you to give a brief introduction about you so that our learners will have the idea about you.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having me here. Let me just quickly introduce myself. So I'm Smita, as you mentioned. I did my graduation in Electronics and Communication, BTech, from Manipal Institute of Technology in Manipal, and I graduated in the year 2019. So it's been 5 years now. So I did my engineering in Electronics and Communication, but then I had an inclination towards data analytics. So that's why during my placements, I was keen on getting placed in a data analytics driven company. So that's how I ended up in EXL service. That was my first job, where my role was in data analytics domain. So I worked there for 3 years with different clients and in different domains, and then I made a switch to Decathlon again as a senior data analyst, and now it's been 2 years here. So that's a quick introduction about me.
That's great, Smita. So Smita, as you mentioned that you were from the engineering background, electronics and telecommunication, and from there you have decided that you have to go for the data analytics. So what was your preparation strategy at that time, just after completing your graduation, and how you decided that okay, this is the particular field? And there are so many questions right now learners are having in their mind, in the coming years, because we are seeing so many new technologies, the development in the field of AI. So is this field is basically the data analytics is the field in which they are going to make their long-term career? What are your opinions on that? Please have a discussion on this.
Sure. So, as you rightly mentioned, I did my electronics and communication engineering, but then there was this one elective which I think most of the colleges have, which is an open elective, and I happened to choose data analytics. It was not a planned decision. I took data analytics since I was just curious to know more about it. There's a lot of buzz going around data analytics. That's how I ended up choosing it. But then during that course, I got to learn, what are the kinds of problems that we solve in business using data analytics. I saw the power the data holds, just using a raw data. If the data is read in the right way, how important decisions can be, data driven, and how it's always going to be right. So that's what inspired me to go to data analytics field. And as you rightly mentioned, the data is the future, right? May it be data analysis or data science, the AI developments that are done in the recent times, it's all in the field of data. So coming into preparations, first of all, I did a lot of research on whether the decision is right. I read a lot about, what are the different opportunities available in the data analytics field. I learned about data analysis, data science, the difference between them. um, First, I did a lot of learnings courses on both data analytics and data science, because I did not know what holds what, and I learned the tools that are required for both the professions. And then I made a decision that okay, I want to proceed in data analysis domain over data science. So that is how I made a researched decision on what I wanted to do in my career.
That's the very good thing, as you mentioned, that the data driven decision you have taken for your career after
Yes.
doing a lot of research. That's really amazing, because we need to understand, like, okay, data domain profile is definitely going to grow in the future, but we are having that interest on that profile really matters a lot. So Smita, like, as right now you are working from last 5 years in the data domain profile, right now you are a senior data analyst. So please just give a brief about that, what kind of work the data analysts really perform inside the company, because there are so many aspirants who are right now in the process, in the phase of learning. They are having these
Mhm.
questions in mind: are the data analysts in the companies actually using Python, SQL, Power BI or Tableau related tools, and what are the challenges you faced in your day-to-day work, Smita?
Sure. So the definition of data analysis is a little different across different companies. Uh, there are some companies where you're restricted to data visualization or reporting, or just building the pipelines, or just understanding the business part. Uh, Fortunately, I've been in companies where I've learned to do all of them together. So I'd say the first step is to, for any data analyst, also a business analyst, is to understand the business, the use case that you're solving for. I'd say tools are learnable. Tools keep changing every 3 4 years. We need to upgrade the tools, but what remains constant is the your problem solving capability. So I'd say the first thing that has been constant across my all of my projects is to understand what is a need to solve that business problem. May it be, you're analyzing sales, or you're analyzing products, you're analyzing your customers. So what is a necessity for that? So once you understand the business and the impact that your project is going to solve, then you decide, this is what I want to solve, these are the data points that I have, and how do I do it. And then after you have all of this, then the tools come into picture. And as you rightly mentioned, I do use SQL, and data visualization, I use Tableau and Amazon QuickSight. uh, Power BI. There are a lot of BI tools that different companies use.
Hmm.
So that is what we do on a daily basis. But first is the business problem, and then we see what's the kind of data we have, where does our data lie, which database we have, and then for data modeling, the second step is the data modeling part. For that, we use Python, SQL. Again, dependent on the project companies, I primarily use SQL. We use Databricks. There are a lot of tools there, the data modeling part. And then comes the data visualization part, where using the raw data, you'd have converted it into a structured format. After that, you'd use data visualization, the BI tools, to show your data in the right way, so that the users don't have the headache of going into a data, trying to understand what's happening. You provide the insights to them in a very structured format, that is more or less the storytelling of the data, right? So that is where the BI tools come into picture. And there are a lot of BI tools. We have Tableau, QuickSight, Power BI, Alteryx, Looker. All of these are used across different companies. So this is what we used. And after that, one of the most important parts also is conveying what you have done to the users, right? You build a dashboard, you publish it somewhere. No, your users are not aware of what it's done. So
Exactly.
having the right kind of communication on what you have done and how they have to use it, so that they can just look at your dashboard and make their decisions, that also comes into part of it. So these 4 steps, I'd say, it's the core of any project across all companies.
Exactly. Following the proper life cycle of a data, in which the understanding of the business problem is very important. And I would like to say one thing to all the learners who are going to watch this conversation. So many learners have started learning different tools and technology, but it is also very important to understand the business problem, understanding the case studies, what is the actual problem of the business, and accordingly you can use, as Smita has mentioned, that tools will definitely going to change after 3 to 4 years. Basically, we can't just stick to one tool. it basically changes as per the requirement of the companies. So Smita, please just give a brief about, because you are there in the industry from last 5 years, you are a senior data analyst, so you are having the idea about the recruitment process of the data analyst. So what kind of interview rounds are conducted, and basically give some suggestions to the learners who are just the freshers and who are going to start their career in the field of a data analytics.
Okay, sure. So recruitment process again is very agile across different companies. It's very different.
Exactly.
Uh, but I think one thing that they look forward the most is your hunger for learning. Because you might know one tool and you might have to learn another tool for a different company. But if you have that, if you need to be a quick learner, you need to be able to adopt a new tool immediately. So that, do you have that hunger or not? So first thing is to prove that you are agile in your working ways. So maybe work on a lot of personal projects. That's what I'd say, and that's what I do as well. So when maybe I can take example of SQL, and then we can go tool by tool. That might be more helpful. So for SQL, I'd say be strong in your basics. Don't start your learning with solving a complicated problem. Be 100% sure on basics. Learn what's the difference between rank and test, and start from there. And then once you are very strong with basics, then start attempting all. We have a lot of platforms that are freely available these days. I do my practice using lead code. I try to solve all the set of questions. You have questions available across, like that are based on the interview experience of candidates across different companies. Try to crack all of these. You have questions from high level companies as well.
Hmm.
Try to solve that. If you don't know, understand, try to solve it on your own. Otherwise, the solutions are available. So make it a point that every day you dedicate some hours, some time to solve these. Make sure you dedicate for SQL or Python, whatever is your language. After that, when it comes to data visualization tool, whatever is a tool that you're using, uh, practice a lot. Like, I can give advice on Tableau because that's what I have done. I would take any data set from Kaggle. Kaggle is a platform that's available which has huge number of data sets that are freely available to the users. So try to understand your data. Start from the data modeling, like an actual project you do on a company level. Try to do the data modeling, do the cleaning, and then try to understand from this data, what are the kinds of insights that you might be able to provide. Start doing it on Tableau. This is, of course, after you've learned the tool. Start doing these projects and then publish it. Tableau has a huge community. You have something called as Tableau Public, where you can publish your work, and then a lot of users who are using Tableau across the world will see your work. You can also include this Tableau profile in your resume. You can include, the badges that are provided by Lead Code or HackerRank in your resume, which provides a weight for your resume over the others. So I'd say spend a lot of time on yourself first before starting to apply to the companies. Make your resume bulletproof, and then you definitely get the attention of recruiters and the companies.
Completely agreed, Smita. So, Smita, there is one more thing as you are talking about projects. So, please just explain what kind of projects students should have to do, because there are so many candidates. Because for one particular profile, there will be thousands of candidates who have applied, but there are very few candidates who have actually worked on the end-to-end projects and understand about the complete life cycle as we were talking about. So,
Yes.
please explain about the projects, what kind of projects the learner should have to make for getting the entry-level job for the data analyst.
Okay. So one is, there'll be a lot of case studies that are put out from different companies.
Hmm,
There are a lot of contests as well that keep going on. You could
exactly.
try for those. The aim doesn't necessarily have to win the case study, but to have something quantifiable to show to the companies that you've attempted this. So there they will also give a platform to start from SQL. You model your data and then proceed to visualization. Or the other one is like the personal projects that I have done personally is download data set, understand the data set, make a dashboard, publish your dashboard. So I'd say take the most relevant data sets that the companies might be using, or if you have a specific company that you want to crack, go to their website. I'm sure they'll have some sample data sets that are put
Hmm.
out for the users. Download that, try to understand what the company is trying to solve. Maybe they're trying to solve how can they do better sales in a particular region where they've not cracked yet. Try to understand, try to give insights about that in your projects, and then you can show that. Or if you don't have any specific company that you want to crack, or you want to start giving your interviews, I'd say take the most used data sets, or clean data sets that are already available to you, and then start your journey from there. Your goal is to not build a fanciest dashboard. It is to build a simple and clean dashboard that your user can get a glimpse of, and they can understand the dashboard. It needs to be self-explanatory. All these minor things that is what makes you stand out amongst the rest of the candidates.
Exactly. So, Smita, has that ever happened with you in because you are the senior data analyst, so probably you have appeared in so many interviews, or like you got the chance to interview others as well. So, is that ever happened with you? Like some sort of case studies have asked in the interviews, so about the situation based questions or the circumstances based questions? Because right now there are so many companies in their first round of interview, they just provide one case study or a business problem and then provide certain data and ask the candidates to complete it within 1 or 2 days. And if they're work got shortlisted, then they got a call for the next round. So, is that ever happened with you? And what type of scenarios are right now going on in this field?
Yeah. So I think, as you rightly mentioned, I have both given case studies and I've interviewed candidates who have, given case studies. I think one thing is, first, what we check is, do the candidates directly jump onto solving the problem, or do they take the time to understand what the problem is? Most of the times, the data that we are given on purpose will not be clean. There might be some outliers, or there might be some incomplete data. So I think the first thing they check is, do you take the time to understand what's going on in the data? Start with trying to understand what every column means. What are the unique values that are present in the column? What do the values mean? And if there's any nulls, or if there's a data is not clean, how do you handle the data? Start from there, and then you try to understand what is the intent of this. Like, before you start developing your dashboard or your model, try to understand what is the outcome of this. Once I give, your outcome should always be quantifiable. So in the end, let's say, for example, in the end of this, I have to be able to give 3 suggestions based on which your business users can make some kind of decision. So it can't be an open-ended dashboard where you say, okay, I've shown this. Based on that, what are you going to do? So that is where you have to start thinking. And once you have done that, that is when you can define the structure to your table. Maybe in some cases your data is already given to you, or in some cases you might have to create a model, do the pivots, etc., etc. So start doing that after you decide what is going to be the end product. And then you start building the dashboard. Again, don't build generic dashboards. In a lot of cases, the recruiters will tell you exactly what it is that they're going to want to see. For example, let's say one of the case studies that I've done is, it was the sales data based on the transactions of the users in a big company. So the deliverable was, give 3 suggestions to the CEO of, on the decisions that they have to take based on the data that's given to improve their sales in 2 years, right? So it's a very quantifiable question. So you start thinking, okay, what to show this, what is the kind of visual that I can do, and all of that, and then backtrace it. To show this visual, I need this kind of data. Do I have this data? If not, how can I model this data? So think of a end result and then come back. Again, build simple dashboards which are elegant and very clean dashboards. So I think that is what they look at. Whether in 2 days you'll never be able to build the fanciest dashboard. The aim is always to see your approach rather than the solution itself. Have you taken the right approach? Have you built simple enough dashboards in the 2 days? So I'd say, to just summarize, understand the problem, backtrace it from what is your goal, and how to show that particular insight. How do you come back to your data? I'd say that's what matters.
Exactly. I completely agree with you, Smita, because fanciness is not so much required. It's the problem solving ability that is very much required. So, Smita, there is one last question. Like, there are so many learners who have definitely, these questions definitely came in their mind, like AI is coming. So, is that the job of data analyst are also going to affect? So, I don't think so that it is going to happen, because for making such AI related products and services, it is the data which is required. Right. So what is your take on this? Because when the learners especially get certain kind of information from the people like you are already working there in the industry, will have a clarity on this. So kindly share your opinion on this, Smita.
Sure. So I think we should all think of it as an opportunity for us to evolve, because if you there's nothing stagnant that remains in a field of IT in general, not just data, for more than 2 years or 3 years. It's always evolving. If you have thought 5 years back, we didn't have what we are doing right now. Also, right? We had manual reports, Excel generated reports, but now a lot of it is automated. We are moving towards automation, but it doesn't mean that whoever was working 5 years back, they don't have jobs now.
Hmm.
The key is to evolve, to have an open mind. Tomorrow a new technology will come, doesn't mean it's going to replace you. You should understand how to use that, and get better at it. So I'd say one is, keep an open mind and be ready to evolve whatever it is. You have to learn every day in this field. It's not like you learn once and that's done. Be open to that, and I'd say, get be the best at what you're doing. You don't have to learn 10 different tools. You learn whatever is, what pulls you, what attracts you, and be the best in your field, and no one can take that away from you, right? So I'd say that, keep an open mind, be ready to evolve, because things are definitely going to change once AI is here, and the companies are going to evolve. uh, Evolve with the company, adapt to the new technologies that come in, and then be strive to be the best. That's all I can say.
How much, with so much of simplicity, you have explained all the complex things in a so much easier manner. So thank you for that, Smita. And I completely agree with this point that any technology is not going to replace the human, but the humans who are having the skills related to the technology are going to replace those people who are not having the skills. So, Smita, thank you so much for being into the session. And I always remember one line that a leader is the one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. So you are the one who is managing all these things in your office in a very much great way, as you are the senior data analyst in the company. And right now you have taken out your precious time and guiding others too, so that they can achieve something in their career. So your helpful nature and the way you have explained the things much more in a easier manner to all our learners, it really means a lot. So, Smita, thank you so much for joining the session and sharing about your thoughts related to the field of data analytics. And I'm very much sure that those learners who are going to watch this conversations are going to learn much more things from you. So, thank you once again, Smita, for participating into this for participating
Yeah.
into this podcast.
Thanks, Swati. Thanks for having me. It was a nice time that I had to.